especially at the beginning.
So often too, which is the scary part. And us as IMGs, we are at a disadvantage. And I think anybody who says we're not, I mean, you don't want to just hide behind that, because it's the truth. And you can use it, maybe as motivation, but we are at a disadvantage when it comes to how programs, look at you. And so you got to work with what you got.
Welcome to the video, guys, and we're back with another one today. I have on my good fellow classmate, Adam, and just go ahead and, thanks for joining us, and just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you mashed into, and anything that you want people to know.
Sure. Yeah. Hey, it's super cool to be here. I think what you're doing is awesome. Love the idea. So I'm Adam Kirstein, just essentially graduated medical school, as you know. And I'll be starting a family medicine residency July 1st. Super excited about that. And yeah, pretty normal dude. Like to play a lot of sports. I'm pretty heavy into following sports and play a little chess. Yeah.
Very cool. What kind of sports do you play? What do you like?
Yeah, so I played hockey my whole life. So
nice.
Actually follow hockey. Panthers aren't too bad right now, which is nice. But yeah, I like football and, watch a little bit of soccer.
That's awesome. Do you still play?
Yeah, Friday nights, sometimes I get a little second puck going, in Coral Springs, but, that's pretty much the only sport I'm playing right now.
Very cool. Yeah. I mean, it's just good to, we need to find time for hobbies and sports to stay active.
Yeah.
That's good.
Med students have to stay active. That's big time.
Yeah. So matching to family medicine, I'm also doing family medicine, man. So, fellow.
Let's go.
Let's go. Awesome. Are you a US IMG or foreign?
Yeah, I'm a US IMG. So
Okay.
I was born and raised in Florida.
Florida. Okay. And where are you going to be going to, if you don't mind?
Yeah, sure. I'm going to be going to Gadsden Regional Medical Center. It's in Alabama.
Okay.
It's about an hour north of Birmingham. So yeah, it's a nice rural town. And they need, a lot of healthcare. So we are the first class in that program.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. Get to establish a new program, build some roots, and see what we can do for that community.
That's interesting. Any kind of, is it like a rural area, or kind of?
Yeah, I mean, I would classify it as rural, I'd say. I don't know the population statistics offhand, but yeah, I don't know.
Have you been to the area?
Yeah, I've been there. Okay. I went. It was actually funny. That was my only in-person interview.
Oh wow, really?
So, yeah, so they had people come in person, cool. Which was super cool, and especially getting to do a bunch of online ones and then see the difference when you go in person. It's worlds different. It does cost a lot more money though. You get to fly and drive.
Okay, well that's cool that you get to experience both virtual and in person. So
yeah.
What do you think? Pros and cons of each?
It's a tough one, because I definitely see both sides where it's like, oh, if you come in person, you do get the face-to-face interaction, which goes volumes, in terms of building relationships, being memorable, communicating effectively. But there's a huge financial cost to it, and we're in debt by so many thousands of dollars. So yeah, I think ideally there'd be a mix.
Okay. What do you mean by that? Like option that you can choose, like if you want to go in person or stay virtual?
Yeah. But I just feel like the program, if they did do that option, they would probably put the people that came in person ahead of the other ones, even if they said they won't.
Yeah. And then everyone would just end up, opting for the in-person option anyway. So
right.
It'll be like not like a moot point kind of.
Yeah. That's a sticky web.
Yeah. That's cool, man. No, I agree. I'm like, especially with like the virtual meet and greet with the resident stuff, that's absolutely useless. I talk about this in my podcast, but everyone asks the same questions, and you don't get to really interact with the resident normally, and you don't really get to see what they kind of really like. So yeah, I think that's what in person will have. a pros
For
over
sure.
that for sure. Do you do apply at all, or no, just straight up FM?
I did. I actually applied to 3 specialties.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so we'll probably get into this in our conversation, but I had pretty low board scores, like
Okay.
step 1 and step 2. And so I had to kind of throw everything in the kitchen sink,
Gotcha.
at the application process. And I was lucky enough to match in family medicine, which is great. But I also applied pathology and internal medicine.
Okay. What was your number one?
So I think, well, family medicine was definitely number 1 for
Okay.
me. But because you can't just apply to specialties and not want to do those other things, right? Like I can't apply to OBGYN and then be surprised if I get it. So, I was definitely, willing and able to do the specialties that I applied to, which I think is important for anybody listening. Don't just apply to stuff if you're not going to do it.
Right.
And so I'm kind of somebody that can thrive in those environments, where it's not necessarily like, oh, I'd be screwed.
Yeah.
I'd be happy if I would have matched in, internal medicine or pathology, but I'm just really grateful I landed in family, which is where I think I was supposed to be.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's a good thing.
Great.
Yeah. So essentially, pathology and the IM was kind of your backup.
Yeah, exactly.
No, because I definitely have heard of horror stories where resident dynamics weren't great because you had these people who, let's say they really interested in, let's say, emergency medicine or like surgery or something, but they kind of like soap into FM or IM and they hated the experience of like outpatient and like FM IM and stuff. So like the entire I've seen threads about it where the co-residents were just miserable because this one guy just like hated doing FM and IM and stuff. So that's definitely a good point. Yeah. So apply to something that you can actually see yourself doing it.
Right.
That's cool. I like that. I didn't think about that.
I think it's probably better to go unmatched than to apply to something that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point. No, so you want one of the first one I talked to that actually do apply. Well, I mean, I talked to Kashish and he actually, so he do apply for IM and general surgery.
Right.
Because he was like, he kind of wanted to do surgery too, but then he had a bunch of interviews for surgery too, but he didn't end up ranking surgery that high, and he decided last minute that he just wanted to do internal medicine. So that was like a different case for him in that way, but so it is really interesting to see like all the different experience people are doing. Very cool.
Yeah, I watched that interview with him.
Yeah.
And what he said was that somebody told him that if there's even 1% doubt in surgery, then don't do it.
Yeah.
And I was told the same thing because going into med school, I wanted to be a trauma surgeon.
Okay.
And I guess for me, the lifestyle didn't really match up with what I was envisioning.
Yeah.
But I thought it was funny that he was told that. Yeah. So it must be true.
He got some good pearl wisdom right there.
Right.
Yeah. Cool, man. But I know you got like married recently too, so congrats on that.
Thanks, man. Yeah. It's been a ride. We're almost at a year now.
Yeah. Everything's falling into place.
Yeah. It's crazy how that happens.
Yeah. So how many programs do you apply to total?
Okay, so like I said, with my low scores, SGU kind of tells you to apply to like 300. So I didn't go that crazy. I applied to 203.
Yeah, that's still less than me, bro.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did like 240 or something. Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. I had a low step 1 score, but I had like a decent score for step 2. So.
Okay.
But yeah, I feel you. Was it 200 for all 3 specialty or?
Was it? No. Yeah. So all like all of them included, what equals 203?
Okay, yeah. So then that's still like way less because I put everything into FM. So like all 200 more programs were like FM programs. So it was crazy.
Nice. Yeah, my most was family.
Okay.
The most out of the 3.
So like 200 total, and then like how many would you remember like the breakdown for the FM IM path?
Ooh. All right. So the least was pathology. So that means IM's in the middle. The least was pathology because there's not that many programs. Like there's way more internal medicine and family programs than there is pathology. So that was kind of like a natural consequence of that.
That's true.
Plus, kind of limiting who you're applying to in terms of, realistic probability of you getting an interview there. Although I did reach one time and I got it, which was crazy.
Like an
Yeah, I
interview.
interviewed at a
Nice.
Harvard program.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Yeah, so that was awesome.
How do you think
But
that? How do you think that happened? How was that?
well, it happened just because I was super annoying, and
Yeah.
I do not recommend anybody do this.
Yeah.
But I was, just I emailed them from the beginning, just kind of like, hey, like I love Harvard kind of thing, and I wrote a whole essay on it. Not it wasn't too long, and then I like would email them like happy holidays, and like I ended up building a relationship with the program coordinator. And then one day they were opening up more interview spots. This was like in January, and the program coordinator actually like took my application and put it in front of the program director's desk, and then they offered me an interview, which is incredibly rare.
Dude, that's awesome.
Nobody from our school has interviewed there, so they wouldn't even look at my application because it was the FMG.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was just a super lucky kind of instance.
Okay. Do you rank them like high on your list, or?
Because
it was pathology.
Yeah, it wasn't. I didn't rank them like super high because I thought my chances. I mean, they were ranked highly. I don't know. I don't really want to say like who I ranked.
Okay,
like
gotcha. That's fine.
but I did come and think about the realistic probability of one, me matching there, and two, what it would be like to bring my wife, because that's a huge factor for me because she's 1 year behind, so she's applying next cycle.
Oh, okay. Your wife's also at SGU?
No, she's at a Florida school for a DO.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
but she's applying next cycle.
Yeah, so I wanted to like make sure I could be with her, or she could come with me.
Very cool.
Kind of thing.
Gotcha. So 200 something total, FMIM pathology, and how many interviews do you get total?
I got 15 interviews total.
Okay. How many? What's the breakdown for that? Do you know?
My most was family. My second most was pathology, and my third most was IM.
Okay.
Which is funny because I applied to more IM than path.
Yeah.
But I guess that's how it goes.
Yeah. Was the secondary writing essay for like the IM part? You think that kind of did any effect on the?
That's a great question. I remember when they sent that out, and I was like, "What is this?"
So you had to do it.
Yeah, right? I did do it. Yeah. So I don't think it did anything.
Okay.
I don't think it did anything, but there's really no way for me to know that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was more
because like this cycle was the first year they did that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I was hearing from my friends. So I'm wondering why they started doing that.
Yeah. I think it was probably more experimental. Like, let's just see like how this goes, kind of thing. We were the guinea pigs.
Yeah, I should ask my IM people. Did you do how many away and audition rotations do you do? Did you do any to like different?
Yeah, I did do one. I went to a pathology program that was a family member of mine. So that's why it was kind of easy to get into. Just because they would allow me to rotate there with somebody in my family. But aside from that, I didn't do any away rotations. I did just about everything in South Florida.
Okay. Was it at the same hospital you were doing your core at too, or?
Yeah. I did most of them there, and then I did a couple in like South Miami, and then a bunch of like outpatient clinics in North Miami and Fort Lauderdale.
Okay, so mostly in Florida. Do you feel like, you feel like you have gotten a better chance, get more interviews, you did more ways at all, or you don't think it would matter?
So So from my experience and from my colleagues' experience, I can say that the more away rotations you do, the way better chance that you're going to have of actually interviewing at that place.
Okay.
One, because they know you, and it kind of goes into the whole, like, should you interview virtually or in person? It's like when you go in person, you can develop relationships that are just they hold so much more weight than, an online face. And so, I saw people that just went to places and got interviews because they were rotating there, they might be courtesy interviews. They might like not really want you that badly. But it's an interview nonetheless, and you can always change their mind.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's definitely something that you should do if you're, one, worried about not getting interviews, or two, you have specific spots in mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you know Well, I asked this to everyone because I haven't found anyone yet. But do you know like anyone who did kind of like an over rotation that was not affiliated with SGU at all? Like what kind of paperwork they had to do and stuff?
Yeah, because I had to do the same paperwork, and there's this thing called VSAS, which is how my wife's school does it. Like if she
Yeah,
wants to
so like all the
rotate,
ND and like DO, the US ND
right,
and DO, they get that thing.
right. We don't
But
get
we
that
don't get that. No.
thing. No, no. So there's like all this paperwork you have to do. It took me like a year,
It took you a whole
and
year to like get everything
dude,
done and like get
I'm
acceptance stuff.
telling you, it's a pain in the ass, dude.
That's
It's a
crazy.
pain in the ass. I mean, you just have so much coordination to do, so you have to really want to like go to these other sites.
Yeah,
But it can be done.
it could be
It can
done.
be done. It's just a pain in the ass for sure.
Okay. Yeah, because like I don't. I think I tried doing it. I was like, but all the hospital that I was emailing to like get spots at, they all just like, oh yeah, we don't take any students except through like VSAS. So I was just like,
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know how people do it because like I think I have heard of people doing it. So I don't know how.
yeah.
That's cool, man.
No, it's doable.
Yeah. So what do you find was like the hardest part of the application process, the interviewing process for you?
Um, well, I think probably the hardest part is the mental game, which medical school, as anybody who's listening to this probably knows, is a mental game. The whole thing is in your head. And so this whole thing is it keeps you in limbo. We're still in limbo, like we're waiting to start, you know? So it keeps you in limbo for so long. It's like, am I going to get interviews? Okay, I have 4 interviews. Can I get to 6? Can I get to 10? You know, if I could just get to 10, and the bar just keeps moving. And then you have these interviews, you're like, wow, I think that went really well, but you don't know how they think that it went.
Yeah.
There's a lot of empty promises. In this whole thing, there's a lot of manipulation, which is not good, which needs to change. But I mean, it's just the mental kind of aspect of applying and securing a residency position needs a lot of work. Um, I would say that's probably the hardest thing for me. Also, kind of thinking that everything was about scores, and it's really not. I was a perfect example of that because my scores were very low, and I always worried about whether I was going to get any interviews. You know, if I got 15, I mean, that was like
Yeah.
I never thought I'd
That's
get
a good
15.
number, man. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was very happy with it, just because I underperformed on my exams like big time. I did have some really good extracurriculars and things that I did to boost my resume.
What are they? You gotta tell us.
Yeah, yeah, I'll tell you. I think I sort of mastered that because with my scores, I wasn't expecting, to be honest, more than like 4 interviews. But so okay, so I invented this medical device called Tremblock. It's a mouth guard used for patients with seizures. And my brother's an aerospace engineer and a genius. So I got lucky. You know, I could just go to him and we could make this thing together. And so that looked pretty good on
Oh
my
wow.
resume. And then I just started learning different languages. I figured that would kind of make me stand out a bit. So I learned a little bit of Mandarin. I started studying some French. I know Spanish decently well. And yeah, and then obviously writing good personal statements, having good letters, that really matters because they were brought up in my interview.
Awesome.
That's how I know that they matter. Um, and then if you're some advice that I could say is, if you have a hobby, like go submit to a competition for that hobby. If you like to collect bricks, go join a brick collecting club and join a competition to see who has the most bricks. Because I mean, you could just put that on your resume. It makes you stand out. It's different. I mean, these people are looking through thousands of applications, so the things that you can do to make yourself stand out, they really matter. That's my experience.
That's very cool. Yeah, no, I think there's some pros in there. Especially,
Yeah,
like turning your hobbies into, just go like you like for me to say I like making music production. Right? If I enter like a beat contest or something, and maybe if I don't win it, but at least I can say, yeah, I on your extracurricular you can put something that, oh yeah, I joined a beat contest. And
yeah,
dude,
dude, that's perfect.
dude, that's a really good idea. Why didn't I think of that? See, this is why. This is how you get 15 interviews, man, with low scores. I think this is a good story that people need to hear.
For
Because
sure.
not everyone is gonna get top scores, and there's a reason why there's the average at the top, and then like the bottom part below average. So very cool, man.
Yeah.
Um, I saw you were you acting or something? You have like a movie coming out. What's that about?
Yeah, so that's another thing that I did to add to my resume. Before I was into medicine, I was doing music and acting as well.
Oh wow.
And yeah, I've been lucky enough to be a part of a couple projects, and so that was something to put on my resume. Something that came up during those when you meet the residents thing that you were saying. Yeah, I mean, just like I said, anything that you can do. But yeah, it was a movie that was filmed in Wyoming, which was a lot of fun. It's like a scary movie. And we'll have the trailer out in, I think, October. Um, yeah. And then I've done like a little commercials and, stuff like that.
That's very cool, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks.
Um, I forgot to ask you this: when you were making your programs, how do you decide? How do you make a list of programs to apply to? Like,
That's a great question.
Yeah, go through that.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So I have a stepbrother, a brother-in-law. And, it's funny because he started out as like a really close friend of mine, and then he married my wife's sister.
Oh,
But
wow.
he married her first, so I married his wife's sister. Is the right way to say it. But anyway, we became brother-in-laws, and so he was a year ahead of me at SGU, and so I just did what he did. And what he did, I thought was very effective. And you just essentially make an Excel spreadsheet, and you can organize it on the bottom where it says pages. You can organize it by specialty or state, whatever you want to do. And so what I did was I created an Excel spreadsheet, and I went just crazy with the detail. Like I put, the program director's name, their email, the program coordinator's name, their email, the step score for step 1 that they usually take, the step score for step 2 that they usually take, and just like every piece of information that I thought might be relevant, I put it into a spreadsheet, and it was so much easier to look at in terms of, okay, I should probably apply to this program, or maybe I shouldn't apply to this program because we don't have all the money in the world,
Right.
But I found that strategy to be highly effective. And I would recommend, anybody to be as organized as they can.
Okay. And but then you had to go to, how do you like decide which program to put onto that Excel spreadsheet? Firstly, you just kind of went with states.
Okay, yeah. No, I missed that. Sorry. So I used 3 things. I used first of all, when you're on the AAMC and like when you go to like apply to programs, you can like click and they'll show you their website. So like I used that. I used Residency Explorer, and I used Match a Resident. So I got the subscription.
Gotcha.
And those were more ways to keep organized, and also resources that showed you like what scores they take, and like what they're looking for.
Yeah.
It also tells you like people with your stats. This is how many people interviewed in the last 5 years. So that gives you pretty useful information. So I use those 3, and then kind of culminated onto the spreadsheet.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, Match a Resident is great, man. I used it too.
Yeah,
you were way more meticulous than me. I just literally went to Match a Resident, sort by states or whatever, and I looked at like they give you that like compatibility rating. I just added all the 100 ones onto my list, and that's it. I'm submitting it and sending all my programs to these programs.
There's a million ways to skin a cow.
Yeah, but that's cool. So you were definitely way more meticulous than I was. So I don't know. I think people are going to ask. So you can share that. You want to share the template of your Excel sheet? Let me know. Just send me that link.
Sure.
I'll post
yeah,
the
for
description
sure.
below for you guys.
Yeah, I'd be more than happy. For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Make it a lot easier.
Very cool, man. Any scheduling the interviews? Tips and tricks.
Yeah. Oh my God. So I was like a psycho. So I thought, like I said, that I was going to get very minimal interviews. So I had my phone, like I was staring at it. And that's part of the mental thing, is like that definitely negatively affected my mental health. Yeah. But just looking at your phone all day. Yeah. But I mean, you got to be the first person, because right now there's no rules. So they could be like they offer interviews to, let's say they have 10 spots at that particular moment in time. They'll send out 15 emails like, hey, you got an interview. And if you're late, if you take more than, honestly, if you take more than like 5 minutes to respond, you might not get it. So if you're somebody, if you're somebody like me who like really needed the interviews, like you have to be like on your phone, like on your, email and just be ready, dude. Like have Thalamus. Some programs use Thalamus, and like you have to be prepared for that because it's too much time to like have to sign up for the thing, figure out how the UI works. You have to be ready, and I know people that happened to. So it didn't happen to me because I was quick.
Yeah.
But you just have to be ready.
Yeah.
They use all these different programs.
No, that's
So.
a really good point you brought up. I'm surprised no one did because no, you're right. If you do, you probably only have 5 minutes, and you gotta make sure you sign up an account for Thalamus beforehand. Know how to even schedule.
Right. Yeah.
Because like just figuring it out is it's gonna take you time. Just like because the way to schedule the interview on Thalamus is a little bit different.
Yeah.
You can't just like click on it and pick a date. It's like
Not as easy as it
through. Yeah, Thalamus. There was something else too that they use. From what I remember. So just
Interview Broker.
Interview Broker. Yep, that's the one too.
I had 2 programs use that.
Yeah. So make sure you get used to those interface and sign up with the account. Learn how to navigate through it. When you do get the programs, you can sign up the interview right away. I actually missed like 2 interviews from like 2 programs because I was too late to do it because I was like I think seeing patients or I was doing stuff.
That's another thing. Yeah, it happens when we're in rotations.
It's the worst.
So lucky that I was able.
I was lucky that they had more interviews later, but again, I missed the first 2. That first wave, and then I kind of have to have the interviews later in the cycle. So that might also not be good for you either. So that's definitely a good point, man. I think you're right about that. It's definitely a scary, you read all the Reddit threads and stuff, and people like make it a really big deal, which it really is.
Dude, that's like literally tip number 1 is stay off Reddit. Like, just get off of MedReddit.
For your mental health.
Dude, MedReddit, not only is that, but it's like they're wrong about stuff.
Yeah.
Like they've been so wrong, and it's just nothing but anxiety inducing. So I would recommend anybody stay off MedReddit.
Yeah. I think one thing that I would share too is instead of using the mail app, because I have an iPhone and then I just aggregate all my mail account onto the mail app. So like my Yahoo Mail, my Gmail. So apparently, if you just download Gmail, it will actually notify you right away compared to the mail app because the mail takes, I don't know, for some reason it checks it, like doesn't check it constantly or something, I guess. But the Gmail app will tell you before the mail app tells you, depending on which. I mean, I use my Gmail account for the ARS notification thing. So that's why I use Gmail, but maybe you use some other email, then I don't know. But yeah, just make sure you guys check that.
Yeah, I use Gmail. That's a good point. I use Gmail.
Give me 1 second. So I think in the beginning I was super neurotic. I actually forward the email notification from my Gmail to my text messaging, so I was getting like a text message too.
That's smart.
Yeah,
that's smart, dude. Yeah, you crushed it.
So definitely look up how to forward emails to your text message and stuff. There's like instruction for that on Google.
So, for sure.
I mean, any more tips for the scheduling interview stuff?
Yeah. Yeah. So one time I was I got like the Thalamus interview, I think, and I was struggling, man, because I had only used Thalamus for one other interview, and like I couldn't find the freaking thing, like how to do it, and I was freaking out because it had been like 5 minutes. I don't know. And then I just like clicked a date because I had gotten to the point where I couldn't even see like if the dates work out, and there was a conflict, but I was able to resolve it.
Oh, nice.
But I guess the moral of the story is like just click a date, like just get it.
Just get in there. Just get in the system.
Yeah.
That's good, man. You said stay up Reddit, but then I also see you commenting on a Facebook post about Met Twitter. So come on, man. Why are you contradicting yourself? So tell us about Met Twitter. Tell us about Met Twitter.
Met Twitter is different, bro. Like, all right, so essentially, like the best things about Med Twitter is if you're unmatched or if you're looking for just help. I think the people on Reddit, I mean, the people on Twitter, sorry, I have found to be one, having your best interest, and two, there's resources where you can see like unmatched programs that didn't fill other spots that still have spots available that you can apply for. And so that can be like immensely valuable. It's the difference between a career. Whereas I haven't seen that on Reddit. Reddit, in my experience, is just full of a bunch of like, people that are a little mad at the system.
Yeah.
And even though, they might be, right with their concerns, they don't express it the right way. And instead, sometimes they come up with fairy tales and things that just aren't true. And so I kind of learned that the hard way. But, I think med Twitter can be useful, and med Reddit is very rarely will provide that.
I think, my hypothesis, because they have a, met Twitter, you need to have a legit, profile picture, and there's actual people in there instead of just anonymous people on Reddit where they just
right.
a bunch of trolls
and maybe
stuff.
that's why they're nicer, because
they
know
want
who
to
they
put on
are.
a good front. But I think you're right. Met Twitter, actually, I've been seeing a lot of posts, especially recently, about new spots opening up and unmatched position opening up. So, like, for like surgery, for like internal medicine, I've seen that time a lot. But yeah, like I'm also surprised how many like surgery spots were available.
Dude, yeah, I thought the same thing, because I have some friends that didn't match, unfortunately, and so like I send them those things when I see them, and there's been a lot of surgery.
Yeah,
yeah, it's interesting.
Very cool. That's definitely a good tip, man. All right, so just I don't want to keep you too long. So, what will you do differently if you can't go back?
Well, it's funny. The first thing that comes to mind is like, well, obviously do better on my exams.
Yeah.
But I was as meticulous with those exams as I was with the spreadsheet. I mean, that's just my personality. I studied very hard. I took 3 months off for step 2. I got a tutor, did the whole shebang. And it didn't work. And I mean, I was able to pass, thank God. But, I just think I think the answer to your question is I wouldn't put so much pressure or so much mental angst on myself in terms of, am I going to match, or am I, going to be able to make up for these poor scores?
Yeah.
I think as much as the system kind of sucks, I kind of trust it. I think I really did end up where I was supposed to be, and I got lucky for that. But I think it just wasn't worth all of the mental, hoops that I made myself jump through.
Yeah.
So I would just urge anybody out there to, you just do what you can, work as hard as you can, but at the end of the day, you're more than a score.
Yeah, I think you definitely like a shining example of that, man. Low scores and matching to a good your preferred specialty. So definitely thank God for that. And
thank God, baby.
Yeah, God is good. But what was I gonna say? But yeah, no, I totally agree with what you said. Like you did your best. I'm sure we all did our best for our staff experience. We all put in the hours, all putting. It's not like I believe that anyone who got like a bad score for steps, not because they didn't work hard or didn't like study hard or anything like that, like less than the other person. Just come to down. Also, luck play a big factor too. When what kind of content show up by the time you take the test, and what kind of curve you get by the time you take the test with other people,
Right.
And there's a lot of factors play into the testing too. So I 100% agree with you on that. So you guys, if you guys have bad scores, don't feel bad about it. Do the best on everything else that you can control. You already took the test. Your scores is written in stone. You can't retake it. So nothing you can do about it. Just let it go and work on something else like extracurriculars, everything else, like Adam suggested, and just leave it in God's hand. Like do what you can, do what you can control, and then whatever you cannot, just nothing else you can do. No need to fret about it and worry about too much. But I totally feel you, man. That feeling of going unmatched and feeling like wanting to do more to boost your application and everything throughout the whole process is scary, especially
it
in the
happens
beginning.
So often too, which is the scary part. And us as IMGs, we are at a disadvantage. And I think anybody who says we're not, I mean, you don't want to just hide behind that, because it's the truth. And you can use it, maybe as motivation, but we are at a disadvantage when it comes to how programs, look at you. And so you got to work with what you got. But I think our school, honestly, I love SGU. Like, I think our school is amazing. Um, Not to go off topic, but I'm just so grateful. Like, they gave us all a chance. You know, it's expensive, but they gave us a chance. And like, I found the resources at our school to be just amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I had people that I could call anytime for any reason. You know, my clinical experience was great. I know everybody doesn't share this opinion, but I think our school was just, man, they were great.
Yeah, that's good, man. Yeah, I say if you're gonna go to Caribbean med school, it's definitely go to SGU. And I know I talk a lot. I talk a lot about crap about SGU on my channel, and
I do.
there's gonna be videos coming out that people are gonna like. I think my video is coming out is gonna be like, oh, why you should not go to SGU. But then there will also be another one where it's gonna be why you should go to SGU, because definitely I just wanted people to be informed before they make that decision. And
yeah,
but I definitely
nothing wrong
100%
with
agree with you, man. Like we wouldn't be here where we are right now without SGU. So gotta be grateful and be thankful and give credit to the everyone before us. So definitely for that. Thank you for your time, Adam.
For sure,
It's been
bro,
great,
for
man.
sure.
I think this is gonna help a lot of students, other viewers watching this. If anyone have questions and stuff, you think is it okay for them to contact you on like Instagram or Facebook?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, at any time. You know, anybody has a question about anything, I'm always available.
For sure. Yeah, Adam's a great guy. I talked to him on the island. He's I remember first time seeing him. It was we did the SGU challenge. I mean, not challenge, but like the scholarship thing where they give us money, and then like you were one of the first video I remember going at it to see, and he was singing.
Oh my
yeah,
god,
he was singing his piano.
Funny.
Yeah, and that was the first time. I was like, dude, look at this guy going. Like, this guy's going off. So that like that kind of motivated me to like, make my video. Yeah, how much was it? Like 10,000 for school?
$10,000, dude.
Yeah.
Apply for scholarships. That's another thing. Yeah.
So very cool, man. So I'll make sure to leave your information in the description, and you guys can go ask Adam if you guys have any questions. And make sure you guys subscribe for more videos. I'm gonna be talking to a bunch of students. I have a bunch of people lined up. And you guys have any like questions that you want me to ask in the videos? Just comments below or like message me. And until next time, thanks for watching.